What, my nerdy brethren? Here we are again in the workshop, and I got the hot plate of doom out. This can only mean one thing. Yes, it is more Grado/Grado headphones. The ones full of glue that are always difficult to pull apart. But we'll see. Maybe these ones are different. You never know. These are the hemp ones, which we haven't done yet. So I thought, might as well. Let's get them in. Let's have a look inside. Let's see what they're all about. And obviously, if you haven't watched some of my stuff before, we're not going to listen to these. I'm not going to give you a review of the sound quality. We're going to look at how they're made, and we're going to try and modify them slightly. I think we're doing a detachable cable mod on this one. So yeah, let's have a look. See how easy / difficult that's going to be. Okie pokey. I've started that thing warming up. We're going to go for a record. I've only got like 45 minutes till I've got to go and move my car, so that's the level of confidence I got here. I suspect we can do this. If not, it'll be a 2-part video. There we go. We're in. Oh, they are beautiful. Look at that. Let's get them out. There we go. Oh, sir. That's a beautiful thing. Do they smell? No, they smell slightly fruity. It's probably the maple. Don't know. Don't smell like hemp. Right, okay. Yeah, so here we go. The Grado Hemps with the little hemp button and the cheeky cannabis leaf there. Hemp is actually a wonderful structural material, and we should use more of it. Let's have a look. Actually, many banknotes used to be made from hemp, which I always used to find interesting. Obviously, these days, a lot of countries have moved to polymers. So let's get these unhooked. There we go. So I've just removed the ear cups. So the ear pads look interesting. They've got little cuts around the edge, which I haven't seen on the other models. So this is a new, updated pad. Fortunately, I don't know these kind of headphones well enough to really tell you for certain whether these have got different yokes, but they look slightly shinier than the ones I've played with. So I might have changed the mold or the plastics. Right. Come on. There we go. Phase 1 complete. So here we go. We have the hemp and maple. So as you can see, this front part maple, this back part hemp, and they are glued together because I don't know, are they? Yeah, they're glued in some way. It's quite interesting to see how they've made the hemp. So I suspect it's like compacted with some kind of glue or epoxy type thing to form a solid material. Unfortunately, these don't look like they're going to be easy to get into. These don't come apart. So we're either going to have to we're probably going to have to heat these up, going through the back. So we're going to have to push this grill through, apply a bit of pressure, and then heat this side up, push the grill through, heat this side up, apply pressure from the back, pop the driver out, and then we can see the money shot, see what the driver looks like. So we're going to put those on there just to warm up a bit, and I think that's as good a place any to cut, and we'll come back to when they're nice and warm. Alright, I've just wanged a hoodie over it for 10 or 15 minutes. Good excuse to go make a cup of hot chocolate. I have chickened out and moved my car as well because I have a feeling this is going to take more than 45 minutes. I forgot how long it takes to heat these things up. But anyway, hopefully now we can push the grill out. So just applying pressure around the edge and hoping. Yeah, I can feel a bit of movement. I think it is glued. Giving off a smell. I smell hot wood. Hot. Sorry, just touched my hand on the bloody hot plate. Hey, right, we're in. Alright, so that grill is glued in place with glue that can be softened with heat. Gonna heat up the driver side on that one while I get this one out. Yeah, so that's come out nicely. So I'm going to snip those wires, poke those through, which will help with the getting out of stuff. Also, we can have a look and see which cable they've used with this, because as you may have seen if you watched in the other ones, Grado put different numbers of wires in different headphones. So these ones have 4 wires in, so it's kind of their mid-range cable. I think their basic one only has 2, and the higher ones have 12 or something stupid like that. Okay, and again, good and bad cable design. It's the classic Grado cable. We've got quite a thick kind of thing that stiffens up. It sort of work hardens over time, so it's eventually it kind of splits after, you know, they last a number of years, but eventually they'll get a bit funny. But the good thing about the design, so let's praise the design of these, because a lot of people hate on them. But having multiple thin conductors is going to reduce the chance of you getting any problems with skin effect, and having an air gap around them again is going to help space them out, so you're going to get one. So you're not going to get one cable inducing a current in the other one as much, because you've got a bit more of an air gap, and you're possibly going to get slightly lower capacitance. It's not, you know, it's not the best design, but it's pretty good for kind of something that you can mass produce quite easily. And obviously, I suppose they've had those cables for years. Cable design has kind of moved on a bit since they did that. I'm sure if they remade them today, they would do them slightly differently. But it's a tradition thing. They've been using those same cables for a long time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it until it is broke. Then fix it. Right. So this one's been on there warming up a bit. Let's see if the glue on the front here is softened. Yeah, starting to soften. So what we can do is pull off some of that glue. So it's just going to be a case of kind of warming and picking away at it. And then once we've removed most of it, we can push the driver through. Alright, so I reckon most of the glue is out of the way of the driver there. So I'm just going to give it an additional warm and then try and poke it through. And again on this one, most of that's unhooked, so let's give it a bit of pressure. See if that's going to pop out. Now the glue is set in the inside again. Nope. No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them heat up again for another 10 minutes or so, just kind of because I think they've lost too much heat where I've been playing with them. Just let them thoroughly warm up again. And then I should be able to pop the drivers out, hopefully. Alright, these should be nice and warm now. Hopefully we can see the drivers. Let's have a look. Come on. Relinquish your grip on the Watsits. Nope, doesn't want to come out. I'm going to probably have to completely remove all the glue. I was hoping we'd just be able to push it through with a bit of warmth. But turns out that is not the case. So I'm going to do a long and boring job of picking all the glue out of the thing there and popping them out. So this is why I don't do these very often. Yeah, leave it with me. A lot of picking to do. Let's go. Well, as you can see from these small pile of gluey bits here, I've had to pick quite a lot of glue out from around the driver. I'm hoping that we're just about there now. I've just got these warming up again. So the technique I've basically been using is scalpel upside down, sort of getting it into the gap in between the housing and the driver, and just picking out the glue while it's warm. Let's see. Let's let's push this and see. Oh yeah, we got some movement. I don't know if you can see on the edge there. Definitely moving. Pop! There we go. We're in. Okay. Well, that took about an hour. So, here we go. The driver. We have 4 holes open on the back. We have black, whatever that is, on the back of the driver, with the positive side already marked in pen for me, which is quite nice. Haven't seen that on the other drivers. So there you go. So that is it. So that is a Grado Hemp driver in all its glory. I'll have to check over my other videos to see if it's the same as one of the other drivers, but I'm sure some of you experts out there will know if that looks the same as a different model. Let's get this one out as well. Pop! Oh, there we go. Oh man, it's hard work. Alright, so now we have our 2 drivers out. And we can take a look at the ear cap. So I'm just going to pull out the grill. So that's the grill there. Again, the little Grado thing's hot glued on there. Just having a look at the construction of this. It's quite interesting. Yeah, so these have been made into what? So I think what they've got is the hemp fibers are all soaked in some kind of glue and then slapped onto a piece of maple like that, and then it's turned as one unit. So it doesn't look like these are joined. I think these are glued and then machined or turned, lathed to this shape and then kind of shined up a bit, but you can still feel some of the lumps and bumps where this is joined, where the lathe has caught the edge. So I reckon if you gave these a really good polish, they would come up even nicer. Yeah, so relatively interesting construction. So it's essentially some kind of wood composite there, but it looks beautiful. I really like the look of it. And I'm sure Grado have tested and are pleased with the sound that it makes, because obviously with the fibers and the resin and stuff, it's probably not going to have any kind of it doesn't ring, it's not going to have any kind of resonant frequencies. Yeah, so interesting housing, but not ideal for modding. These ones did not come apart very easily. So next we are going to fit a socket in there. So let's have a look and see if I've got any sockets. So we get a couple of those. I've used these on other Grados and they seem to fit nicely. They are the Element 14 473 467 1SK. Catchy. Right, so let's just do a little test fit. Yeah, what I'll normally end up doing is using a Dremel to make a little recess for this. Yeah, you can see that's the 2.5mm. It kind of fits through the original hole quite nicely. So yeah, that's why I tend to use these. Right, leave it with me. I'm gonna Dremel that and stick a socket in, and we'll see what we can see. So just lots of dremeling and test fitting to get it right. Don't know if you can see in there, but I've essentially kind of made a rectangular dip in there, which this socket will sit in. Just going to give it a bit more support in there, and also help bring the socket forward so it's kind of almost flush with the with the housing there. Then we'll use a couple of different kinds of glue to glue it in. Use an E6000, which will glue the two together, and then we're also going to add a bit of hot glue around the edge to give it some additional support. So if you yank on the cable, hopefully it will stop it from snapping off inside. But yeah, getting the pocket dremeled the right kind. So when you hold it in there, try and wobble the socket around and make sure that it's not wobbly. So you've got a relatively flat surface. You know, it's a lot of trial and error, trying it, dremeling a bit more until you get it vaguely flat in there. Because obviously we're making a flat surface inside a round one, so you've got to cut down more in the corners, that kind of stuff. But that seems to be sitting in there nicely, which means when we glue it, there'll be a decent surface area for that to grip onto. Alrighty then, time for reassembly. So I've chosen this 2.5mm jack as it will fit over the end of the cable. The slimmer ones that we use don't quite fit these, so those will go on there nicely. It's a 4-pole one, but that doesn't really matter. We're only using tip and the sleeve. The other ones aren't going to be connected to anything. So you could use a 2-pole or a 3-pole or a 4-pole, totally up to you. I just happen to have some of these knocking around, and they're quite nice. They're too nice to go to waste, but they're a little bit too slim to fit on our standard cables, which are thick boys like that. So we've got a batch of these that we're not doing anything with, so might as well use those. Just get some so whoever's getting these, get some slightly fancier connectors than usual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse the cables that are already attached. That's probably the safest things if you're following along at home, DIYing it. This is how I would do it. And the cables that are built in, as I said, the cables that come with the Grados, they're alright. They're alright. They definitely, like, this is the bit that lets them down. We're removing that bit. The actual wire inside is pretty decent. It looks like good copper. It's got decent cross-sectional area by having multiple connectors. Perfectly acceptable wire. So I'm just going to strip back the ends. Snip. Strip. Strip. On the Grado headphones, all the ones that I've seen, the blue ones are normally the ground, and then you'll have another colour, white or red, depending on whether it's left or right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist those ends together to make it easier to solder. Okie pokies. Right, let's tin. Let's get those twisted together. Gonna tin that so it turned into one homogeneous lump. Yes, just tinning the end with some solder. Then we're just gonna attach it to a socket. Do I have? Yep, that's all attached on nicely. And here's another one I made earlier. Ooh. So we have a matched pair. So now, don't forget to put the socket through from this side, because we're going to have to oh, nearly got it wrong. Put it through from that side, because we're going to have to, gonna have to glue the driver in. And we probably want to put in the discs first. So yeah, so my top tip is either remove the little hemp tag and reinstall it straight when you put it back together, or try and get the grill back in the same way up it came out. So you can see you've got the two holes on the side there, so I can kind of line that up and see it's not straight. That looks good now. So push that all the way to the back, and then I'll probably heat that up with a hot air gun, because there's no chance of us kind of damaging anything, and that will just soften that glue again. I can press it back into place. So I'm just going to move the drivers out of the way, give this a blast with the hot air gun. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. That's all back in. Actually, just give it a bit of a tamp. That's what I should have done. Not use my fingers. There we go. Right, cool. Okay. What I might do is just remove a little bit more of that glue now I can get at it. So make putting the driver back in easier, and then we'll just seal it all back up again with some more glue. So I'm going to just apply a little bit of glue. So this is the E6000. Hoping that I'm just going to apply that around the. Just going to apply that around the hole I've made, and then pop the socket in place. And then what we really want is a bit of pressure on there. So I'm gonna use one of these little clamps. Okay, so that's now kind of clamped in place. Let that glue dry. Yeah, I'm really glad I went and moved my car, because I totally would have got a parking ticket otherwise, because this is taking a lot longer than I expected. Well, I don't know, I should know. I've done enough Grados to know that this can be an all-day thing if you're not careful. I definitely don't charge enough for this. Yeah, so all we're going to do is strip this back, solder that on. Easy job. Easy. So I'm just going to score the outside of the infamous Grado straws. I can't remember, someone called them something the other day. Yeah, like a weird bit of rubber hose. It's a very strange cable. Right, okay, we're going to strip these back. Oh yeah, whenever you're attaching a jack, first thing, put the bum on it, the jack bum. I don't know what it's technically called, but we call it the bum. And then strip these back. Yeah, because if you forget to put this bit on, you solder all that on, then you go, no. And even though I've been doing this for a long time, and you know, a lot of the technicians that work here do it every day, still probably once a day you'll just hear one of them go like, and you know what's happened. They've gone and soldered something that was really difficult and intricate, and then forgotten to put the bum on first. Like it's easy to do, even though it causes you huge amounts of anguish. Right, cool. Let's get the helping hands in here. And again, like we did with the socket, I think I might twist these together to make them easier to solder. See, this is how I started off when I was like 8 or 9. I first started messing around with audio stuff, just twisting wires together, see what would happen. Yeah, most of my inventions had a lot of wires that were twisted together and then covered in sellotape. That was good enough. Soldering came later. Get the job done, bit of twisting and sellotape, that'll get you going. Yeah, I remember rigging up speakers to a Game Boy by lots of bits of wire and a jack and some sellotape, and then just twisting the wires from the headphone jack from the headphone cable to a speaker cable, and it sounded surprisingly good with no amplifier, just the sound coming directly out of the original Game Boy, and it was super analog and bloopy, bloop 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 bloop. It just sounded awesome coming through a full-size speaker. That's probably where my audio modding journeys began. Right, let's do this. Right, so again, got the connector. I'm gonna add a little bit of flux to these, even though the solder has flux in it. Like because of the large thermal mass you've got here. It's sometimes difficult to get a good solder on there. So a bit of flux and some fresh solder on your soldering iron. I might actually just tin the bits I'm gonna attach them to, and then just attach the two together. PTFE tape over that just to make sure there's no chance of it kind of shorting in the future if they abuse the cable. I can solder that on. There we go, so that's attached on there. Slide this up. There we go. How am I going to shrink tube over that? I probably will. Yeah, what I'll probably do is put a bit of shrink tube over this and over that, and a little bit of a bit of glue lined, which will hold this together. So if you pull on this, it's not going to yank the cable off. Okay, so yeah, I've shrunk over those. I know they're pretty sexy jacks with carbon fiber and stuff, but I'll put shrink over them just so that they are super on there, you know, just if they get the yank, they're not going to come away. Yeah, so a little bit of hot glue, a little bit of shrink. That's just kind of held those on there nicely. Okay, so now hopefully these have at least partially stuck. Hot glue, just all around the edge. So like the E6000 is actually kind of sticking the two bits together, and this is just giving a little bit of additional mechanical support. Right. Yeah. So now I'm going to try and arrange the wires in there nicely, and then pop the driver back into place. Okay, a little bit of pressure. Pop. So it's popped in there. Run this round and squeeze it into the gaps again, just to seal this up. So I'd probably give this like a 3 out of 10 for easy modability. It's not the worst, but it's certainly not the best. Yeah, if you're thinking of, if you just want to have a play around with some Grados and modding and stuff, I'll probably go with the SR80i or whatever the latest one is, E. Because they come apart quite easily. There's a lot of headroom, you know, it's a relatively inexpensive pair, and there's a lot of headroom for modification and an improvement. So yeah, so those are the ear cups back together. Let's pop those on the yoke. So again, don't forget which way around they go. Yeah, these have definitely got different pads to the other Grados that I've played with. Which is quite interesting because pads are a big part of the tuning. So yeah, having a wider opening on there might make them sound a little bit more open. I don't know, it's difficult to tell. Yeah, I'd have to have a proper listen and see what difference it makes. That, and we've shrunk over the thingamabobs. Oh, I should check which one's left and which one's right, because I haven't marked that as yet. So I'll just use a multimeter. See which one's left. Okay, so this is the left one. And what I might do is put a little bit of, we got some clear. I'm just going to put a clear bit of shrink over this one, which will just denote that that's the left. This clear shrink does actually go slightly white. So white for left makes sense, I think. Let's plug that in. That's that one. And then the other side. There we go. So, some Grado Hemps with detachable cable. So there we have it, the Grado Hemp headphones with a detachable cable. I don't know, it's not easy. These are not that easy to get into. Very few of the Grados are. It's not the worst, it is entirely possible. Unlike the PS1000s, which I can't recommend. Yeah, so these are moddable, but yeah, a little pigtail modification or something would be much easier than trying to fit a socket in these, just because getting the ear cups open was a bit tricky. It's just time consuming really, it's not necessarily that difficult. But I think I started this at about 6 in the morning and it's now getting close to 9. So close to 3 hours work to really do this. Obviously a lot of that was waiting for stuff to heat up and waiting for glue to dry. But yeah, you set aside a few hours to get these open. Alright, if you've got any questions, stick them in the thingamabob, like-ity, subscribe-y, you know how it is. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do you a deal, just because you watched to the end. Special offer, I will give you 2 thumbs up, you just give me 1. That's a good deal, that's a good deal. Alright guys, great hanging out. I'll see you again. We got some interesting stuff coming up. I'm going to do a 770, 880, 990. What's the difference video? Where we'll have a look inside and see what the actual difference is, not what all these idiots say about sound. What are they on about? And yeah, I got to finish off my HE400 SEs. I've got all the bits down there. Just haven't had time to do it. Victim of my own success. Fisher Price project's coming along okay. Haven't got any videos for you yet. Should have some soon. It's just a bit more intricate than we initially thought, but it's getting there. It's getting there. We're just 3D printing stuff, fabricating stuff. It's not quite there yet. But anyway, enough blathering on. Thank you for your time, and yeah, I'll see you again.